Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Welcome back to another edition of our nightly recitations and reflections, where we recite a brief portion of the Quran, a brief portion of the juz or the portion of the Quran that is allotted for us for the evening. And then we have a brief reflection thereafter. And so, Alhamdulillah, today is an important day because we are officially now done with 1/3 of the Quran. Time flies when you're having fun, I guess. So, so juz number 11 is what we're reciting today. It begins towards the end of Surah al-Tawbah on ayah number 94. Ayah number 94. So Surah number 9, ayah number 94, and that is where we are beginning from today, inshallah ta'ala.
Perfect. يعتذرون إليكم إذا رجعتم إليهم قل لا تعتذروا لن نؤمن لكم قد نبأنا الله من أخباركم وسيرى الله عملكم ورسوله ثم تردون إلى عالم الغيب والشهادة فينبئكم بما كنتم تعملون سيحلفون بالله لكم إذا انقلبتم إليهم فأعرضوا عنهم إنهم رجس ومأواهم جهنم جزاء بما كانوا يكسبون يحلفون لكم لترضوا عنهم فإن ترضوا عنهم فإن الله لا يرضى عن القوم الفاسقين الأعراب أشد كفرا ونفاقا وأجدر أن لا يعلموا حدود ما أنزل الله على رسوله والله عليم حكيم ومن الأعراب من يتخذ ما ينفق مغرما ويتربص بكم الدوائر عليهم دائرة السوء والله سميع عليم ومن الأعراب من يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر ويتخذ ما ينفق قربات عند الله وصلوات الرسول ألا إنها قربة لهم سيدخلهم الله في رحمته إن الله غفور رحيم والسابقون الأولون من المهاجرين والأنصار والذين اتبعوهم بإحسان رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه وأعد لهم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها أبدا ذلك الفوز العظيم وممن حولكم من الأعراب منافقون ومن أهل المدينة مردوا على النفاق لا تعلمهم نحن نعلمهم سنعذبهم مرتين ثم يردون إلى عذاب عظيم وآخرون اعترفوا بذنوبهم خلطوا عملا صالحا وآخر سيئا عسى الله أن يتوب عليهم إن الله غفور رحيم خذ من أموالهم صدقة خذ من أموالهم صدقة تطهرهم وتزكيهم بها وصل عليهم إن صلاتك سكن لهم والله سميع عليم ألم يعلموا أن الله هو يقبل التوبة عن عباده ويأخذ الصدقات وأن الله هو التواب الرحيم وقل اعملوا فسيرى الله عملكم ورسوله والمؤمنون وستردون إلى عالم الغيب والشهادة فينبئكم بما كنتم تعملون وآخرون مرجون لأمر الله إما يعذبهم وإما يتوب عليهم والله عليم حكيم والذين اتخذوا مسجدا ضرارا وكفرا وتفريقا بين المؤمنين وإرصادا لمن حارب الله ورسوله من قبل وليحلفن إن أردنا إلا الحسنى والله يشهد إنهم لكاذبون لا تقم فيه أبدا لمسجد أسس على التقوى من أول يوم أحق أن تقوم فيه رجال يحبون أن يتطهروا والله يحب المطهرين أفمن أسس بنيانه على تقوى من الله ورضوان خير أم من أسس بنيانه على شفا جرف هار فانهار به في نار جهنم والله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين لا يزال بنيانهم الذي بنوا ريبة في قلوبهم إلا أن تقطع قلوبهم والله عليم حكيم إن الله اشترى من المؤمنين أنفسهم وأموالهم بأن لهم الجنة يقاتلون في سبيل الله فيقتلون ويقتلون وعدا عليه حقا في التوراة والإنجيل والقرآن ومن أوفى بعهده من الله فاستبشروا ببيعكم الذي بايعتم به وذلك هو الفوز العظيم التائبون العابدون الحامدون السائحون الراكعون الساجدون الآمرون بالمعروف والناهون عن المنكر والحافظون لحدود الله وبشر المؤمنين ما كان للنبي والذين آمنوا أن يستغفروا للمشركين ولو كانوا أولي قربى من بعد ما تبين لهم أنهم أصحاب الجحيم وما كان استغفار إبراهيم لأبيه إلا عن موعدة وعدها إياه فلما تبين له أنه عدو لله تبرأ منه إن إبراهيم لأواه حليم وما كان الله ليضل قوما بعد إذ هداهم حتى يبين لهم ما يتقون إن الله بكل شيء عليم إن الله له ملك السماوات والأرض يحيي ويميت وما لكم من دون الله من ولي ولا نصير لقد تاب الله على النبي والمهاجرين والأنصار الذين اتبعوه في ساعة العسرة من بعد ما كاد يزيغ قلوب فريق منهم ثم تاب عليهم إنه بهم رءوف رحيم وعلى الثلاثة الذين خلفوا حتى إذا ضاقت عليهم الأرض بما رحبت وضاقت عليهم أنفسهم وظنوا أن لا ملجأ من الله إلا إليه ثم تاب عليهم ليتوبوا إن الله هو التواب الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وكونوا مع الصادقين ما كان لأهل المدينة ومن حولهم من الأعراب أن يتخلفوا عن رسول الله ولا يرغبوا بأنفسهم عن نفسه ذلك بأنهم لا يصيبهم ظمأ ولا نصب ولا مخمصة في سبيل الله ولا يطؤون موطئا يغيظ الكفار ولا ينالون من عدو نيلا إلا كتب لهم به عمل صالح إن الله لا يضيع أجر المحسنين ولا ينفقون نفقة صغيرة ولا كبيرة ولا يقطعون واديا إلا كتب لهم ليجزيهم الله أحسن ما كانوا يعملون وما كان المؤمنون لينفروا كافة فلولا نفر من كل فرقة منهم طائفة ليتفقهوا في الدين ولينذروا قومهم إذا رجعوا إليهم لعلهم يحذرون يا أيها الذين آمنوا قاتلوا الذين يلونكم من الكفار وليجدوا فيكم غلظة واعلموا أن الله مع المتقين وإذا ما أنزلت سورة فمنهم من يقول أيكم زادته هذه إيمانا فأما الذين آمنوا فزادتهم إيمانا وهم يستبشرون وأما الذين في قلوبهم مرض فزادتهم رجسا إلى رجسهم وماتوا وهم كافرون أولا يرون أنهم يفتنون في كل عام مرة أو مرتين ثم لا يتوبون ولا هم يذكرون وإذا ما أنزلت سورة نظر بعضهم إلى بعض هل يراكم من أحد ثم انصرفوا صرف الله قلوبهم بأنهم قوم لا يفقهون لقد جاءكم رسول من أنفسكم عزيز عليه ما عنتم حريص عليكم بالمؤمنين رؤوف رحيم فإن تولوا فقل حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم صدق الله العظيم بارك الله فيكم
صدق الله العظيم. جزاك الله خيرا. Barakallahu feekum. Once again, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
And we always enjoy every night listening to you, inshallah. Either by the end of this month or inshallah next year, we'll get to be together in person.
Inshallah.
Like the good old days.
Bitawfiq. Can't wait. Ramadan, right? What's
Yeah.
Ramadan? Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, yeah. So I just want to briefly reflect on the couple of verses that came towards the end of this surah. These are perhaps one of the most powerful and emotional verses of this juz and of this section as it pertains to our relationship with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, we've mentioned before that had Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted, He would have revealed this Quran by itself. However, He very purposefully and very methodically revealed this Quran alongside a prophet, alongside an example of a messenger. He gave it to a prophet, and that prophet was responsible for conveying this message to everyone else. And this sort of sense of responsibility that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam had was something that weighed heavily on his shoulders. It was something that he took very, very seriously. There are so many ayat of the Quran, and we'll get to them as the days go by, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually reminds the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that, are you going to go into utter grief and despair, almost as though would you would you harm or kill yourself for the guidance of these people? That he took his job as a guide so seriously, that he was very often grieved by the choices and the decisions that people would make upon hearing the message of Islam. And whenever you embark on an important journey, it's important uh, to always remember that there are people behind you who are pushing you forward, that are rooting for you. They're counting on you, right? And they believe in you. We spoke last night about the whole issue of becoming a wali of God. What does that mean? To become the intimate, close friend of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to the point where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know that He's in your corner. You know that He will defend you. You know that He'll be there for you, right? And so this passage in Surah al-Tawbah is really remarkable because it perfectly encapsulates how the Prophet ﷺ felt in his relationship with us, how he felt he was a guide for all of us. He was a mentor for all of us. He was a teacher for all of us. The Prophet ﷺ says, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ مُعَلِّمًا. I have been sent as a teacher. I have been sent as a teacher. In other narrations, he mentions, my relationship with my ummah is like a father. أُعَلِّمُكُمْ. I teach you, like a parent would a child. So, in this passage, or rather in these last two ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He begins by saying, لَقَدْ جَاءَكُمْ رَسُولٌ مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ. That number one, we have sent you a messenger who is amongst you. He is part and parcel of you guys, right? And this is something very, very important. We've talked about this at length previously, that the Prophet ﷺ was sent and he was a product of his culture. He knew what his people were going through. He knew what they liked, what they didn't like, right? He spoke their language, he spoke their lingo. He was from among them, right? Min anfusihim. He was from among them, right? And there's other ayat of the Quran that talk about that he, yamshi fil aswaq wa ya'kul at-ta'am. He eats the same food that they do. He walks in the same malls and the marketplaces that they do, right? And so he's not someone from, another world that you cannot relate to. He is in there with you. He is in the trenches. He is suffering like you do. He's happy along with you. He's sad when you're sad. He is one of you. That's the first thing. That جاءكم رسول من أنفسكم. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, عزيز عليه ما عنتم. That whenever you and I suffer, that becomes very heavy and very grievous for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is very concerned over the affairs of the ummah. He's not someone who simply treated nubuwa or risala as a job. He clocked in and clocked out and then he forgot about it. No, he is so invested and he is so concerned over the guidance of humanity in general, but specifically for the ummah, that azizun alayhi ma arittum. He is grievous to him whenever you suffer. Harisun alaykum bil mu'minin. He is extremely concerned over the affairs of the believers. And when it comes to the believing community, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the end of this ayah describes the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam by using two adjectives that are actually two adjectives of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of them is Rauf and the other one is Rahim. And the way you see it translated here, kind and merciful. Also, we'll work with that translation, inshallah. Kind and merciful. The point being is that the Prophet ﷺ is gentle with the believers, right? Muhammad Rasulullah walladina ma'ahu ashidda'u al-kuffar ruhama'u baynahum. Right? He may be stern against those who disbelieve, but he is very merciful amongst the believers. And so, Ra'ufun, Rahimun. Two adjectives of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using them to describe the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so, and the ayah concludes, and the surah concludes, فَإِن تَوَلَّوْا. If you turn away, فَقُلْ. Tell them, Hasbi Allah. That Allah is sufficient for me. La ilaha illallah, la ilaha illahu. There is no God except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alayhi tawakkaltu. Upon Him do I place my trust. Wa huwa rabbul arshil azim. And He is the Lord of the magnificent and great throne. This relationship between the Prophet ﷺ and how concerned he is for the guidance of people. It was beautifully encapsulated on two occasions, and I'll share them with you very briefly, one by one. On the first occasion, this hadith comes in Sahih Muslim, as well as other collections, where the Prophet ﷺ says that my example is the example of someone who, in the middle of the desert, in the pitch dark, istawqadha nara, they light a fire. Now, a fire in the middle of darkness attracts a lot of life. A lot of bugs and this and that, moths, butterflies, etc. They start gravitating towards the fire. And they don't know any better. It's just a reaction because they're bugs, right? And so you try your best to ward off these flies and these mosquitoes and these moths. But the more you try, the more they keep coming. And so the Prophet ﷺ says that I'm inviting you to the akhirah. I'm inviting you to pleasure that never ends. I'm inviting you to a garden beneath which rivers flow. I'm inviting you to everlasting paradise. But the allure of the dunya, the temptation of the dunya is so much that it's almost as though you are acting like those moths and those flies and those bugs and going into the fire, and I am grabbing you by your belt. I'm grabbing people by their belts, meaning I'll do whatever it takes to make sure people are saved. That's how concerned he was for the fate of humanity, right? And a similar occasion, the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala anhum witnessed, and this is also an authentic narration in Sahih Muslim, as well as other collections, An-Nasa'i, the Muwatta Imam Malik, and other collections, where the Sahaba depict the Prophet ﷺ going to the graveyard, and then at that occasion he taught the Sahaba the dua that you make when you enter the graveyard. And so he greeted the inhabitants of the grave, and he said, Assalamu alaikum, ya ahl al-diyar min al-muslimina wal-mu'minin, wa inna insha'Allahu bikum lalahiqun. That peace be upon you, O dwellers of the graves, and I will be joining you, inshallah, very soon. And so this not only is a dua for those who inhabit the grave, but it's also a reminder for those who are visiting that just like your family and loved ones and people who you're visiting are underground today and you're above ground, tomorrow we will be under the ground and people will be visiting us, inshallah. So after mentioning this, the Prophet ﷺ actually mentioned that, oh, how I would love to see my brothers in faith, my brothers in Islam, and of course, by extension, my sisters as well in Islam. Now, this wish of the Prophet ﷺ, it confused, it perplexed many of the Sahaba. And many of them actually built up the courage and they inquired. They asked the Prophet ﷺ, Alasna ikhwanana, aren't we your brothers? I mean, I thought we were brothers in faith and sisters. I thought we were one community. The Quran says, Innamal mu'minuna ikhwa, that the believers are brothers. And so, are we not your brothers? And so, the Prophet ﷺ smiled and he looked at them and said, Bal antum ashabi. Rather, I consider you guys as my companions. But my brothers and my sisters are those people who will come after me. And they will follow me and they will love me without ever having seen me. Without ever having seen me. And so the Prophet ﷺ loved us and he longed to see us. And the extended versions of this narration mention that if you've never seen them and they've never seen you, how will you recognize them? And the Prophet ﷺ simply said, I will know them when I see them. I'll know them from their markings of wudu. I will know them because they emulated me. I know them because, when you love something, then you recognize it, right? you recognize it. And he gave the example in different narrations of someone who owns a beloved horse or a prized possession, and that horse has a mark on the forehead. Doesn't the owner recognize it? Right? And so he said, don't you worry about that. I'll recognize my believers and those who love me on the day of judgment. But all we have to do is we have to love him. And we have to try our very best to follow in his footsteps and to implement his advices and to follow his sunnah. And so we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he make us all worthy of the love of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And just as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was concerned about the guidance and the direction and the trajectory of mankind and his community around him, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he give us the fraction of that love and concern for other people. And we say this all the time, that we as a Muslim community, we are not competitors. We are teammates, right? Another Muslim's success and their well-being is our success and our well-being. And we love for our brothers and sisters what we love for ourselves. لا يؤمن أحدكم, none of us truly believe, حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه, until you love for your fellow brothers and sisters what you love for yourself. The famous hadith scholar Imam al-Nawawi, rahimahullah ta'ala, when commenting on this hadith, he asked the question, this hadith mentions that you should love for your brothers and sisters what you love for yourself. And so he asks, the brothers and sisters who are mentioned in this hadith, are they brothers and sisters like biological brothers and sisters in your family? He said no. Are they brothers and sisters in faith, in religion? Even to that he said no. And then when asked, are these brothers and sisters in humanity? He said yes. He said yes. Meaning we love for even our neighbors, our non-Muslim co-religionists, our friends and community members. We love for everyone what we love for ourselves. The mercy, the forgiveness, the tranquility, the peace that our religion, the month of Ramadan, the Quran, the beautiful sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what all that brings, we love it for ourselves and we love it for other people as well. And so we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala once again to put the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in our hearts, and that we become a manifestation of his concern and of his love to all those around us in our social circles, our societies, our communities, and inshallah as an ummah to the world at large. Jazakumullahu khairan wa barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een.